Hello and welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate you, your time, and effort in finding me on this thing called YouTube. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you. And if you are an OG, as always, thank you so much for your continued support. So today I wanted to really just kind of hit at you about something I think that we say a lot. We talk very intensely about self-care, right? And it's just something that I'm hearing a lot without a definition. And what I mean by that is, self-care really is built around a particular idea and a particular notion of thinking, but it's kind of been spun in so many different ways that I think we've just kind of strayed away from what we really want to focus on when we're saying self-care. So the question for the day is, do you understand how to self-care? And you may say, well, girl, yes, I take the little time to give myself a break. And, I go to brunch with my girlfriends and I meditate and blah, 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 blah. I do not want you to ever believe that that's really the complete definition of what self-care really means. Self-care is really understanding that you are responsible for yourself and you wholeheartedly take full responsibility for yourself. And that is so much bigger than just the idea of relaxation or spending money or brunching or things that are outwardly done. Responsibility for yourself really allows you to have a better grasp in response to other aspects of your life, right? So let's talk about just what that responsibility looks like. It looks like you really understanding how to love yourself. How to love yourself, how to actually know what you need, when you need it, how you need it, being able to define it, being able to communicate it, being able to be in a sense of understanding when it's not happening and how to communicate that, and also being in a space of understanding you have to start with yourself. So in order for you to have proper self-care in the love aspect, you'd have to understand what you need, how you need it, and that you're giving it to yourself. So you're not looking for an outward source to do it. You're not in a relationship to do it, not with your, parents to do it. You're not having children to do it. You're not expecting it from anyone but yourself, right? Secondly, you want to make sure that your accountability is in place for yourself. When you have goals and when you have aspirations, you have to make a promise within yourself to fulfill them. Through hell and high water, you have to understand that accountability has to come from yourself, meaning trusting yourself, which a lot of us don't do. And you may think, well, I kind of trust myself, but I don't really know, how to get so-and-so done, so I don't trust myself to do that. That's not what I'm referring to. Trusting yourself is really understanding your instinct and really understanding the idea that you have a sixth sense. You have a hindsight. You have a intuition. You have the front and the back, if you catch what I'm saying, of what really works for you. A lot of the times you're not accountable to yourself in regards to demanding what it is that you know that you need. And I don't mean demanding it in a sense of beating somebody over the brow about it. I mean demanding it in the sense of you're clear on when you're not getting it. So you're demanding it from yourself first so that you literally can see the hiccup in anything else that might not be giving it to you. And when you're there and you're making this promise to yourself, it's harder for you to fall off of the idea of not completing stuff. We all like to start. My goodness, most people are absolutely professional starters. The completion of things is what happens, and a lot of that comes from the idea that you did not fulfill the promise within yourself to complete it. So I'm always going to be a big proponent in telling you, you need to make sure that you are fulfilling your promises to yourself so that you can then expect anyone else to do it. So if you're not doing it and someone else doesn't do it, you really can't fault them because they've never seen you do it, so they don't really have any way of being accountable to you in regards to doing it. Now you could say, well, girl, they should be accountable to themselves and they should do it because they said they were going to do it. All that's true. But you also have to know that if a person's not able to give whatever you're asking them to give to themselves, I can almost promise you that they're not going to be able to deliver it to anyone else. So you want to be clear with that. You want to respect yourself. You want to absolutely draw the boundaries that are necessary to develop a proper identity of respecting yourself. And you may say, well, what are we talking about? We could be talking about anything. You could be talking about your clothing. You could be talking about the way a person actually speaks to you. You could be talking about your expectations. You can talk about communication, whatever you identify respect to be. For me, it's a plethora of all those things across the board. It's basically day-to-day life in regards to knowing what that is. Respect and lying to me go hand in hand. So there's no way for you to tell me that you respect me if you're lying to me. You can't respect me and love me respect me and lie to me if you love me. There's just a lot of all of that for me personally that intertwines. So what I'm trying to do is actually break it down for you individually, but you can kind of see the picture of what I'm saying. When we say self-care, we typically are talking about taking a break. And that's cool, but you don't want to take a break so far from yourself that you don't have a definition of yourself. Self-care is defining who you are. It is a clear picture of what that definition is, and it's loving you no matter what. It's loving you in the good and it's loving you in the bad. It's loving the sum total of who you are and all those little pieces that no one wants to discuss. When you get to this level, then self-care is complete. You're able to actually walk in it and say, yes, I'm having self-care. We hear it a lot in memes and weekend, ideas of, oh yeah, this is my self-care day to really nurture myself or do my hair. These are all attributes of self-care, but that's not what that is. You're doing those things because you do love and you do respect and you do set boundaries and you are accountable to yourself. Therefore, the task of spending time with yourself is just a part of that. But if you only focus on the end result of that, and you're still sitting at home and you're spinning your wheels and you're not very positive to yourself and you're not forgiving yourself and you're not loving on yourself and really enjoying you, doing your hair and, meditating and having a good movie and eating popcorn will do nothing more than create more chaos. Because in that mindset, I feel like you're in a space of really not controlling your thoughts well, and your mind goes all over the place. And sometimes even in the midst of trying to be still and in a space of gratitude, you'll find things that you weren't even thinking about, that you'll start to compare, or you'll start to put yourself in a place of, wallowing because you're not where you want to be. And it's easier to not go to those angles of thought when you are clear on who you are, what you're doing, and where you are. And you're absolutely grateful for it, because no matter how you flip it, you're in a different space than you were, and you know that that's not the place that you're going to stay. So I give you all of that because I want you to know what words and ideas actually mean, right? We get very caught up on just reciting things off of just the repetition of what we hear online and what sounds good in sound bites. And that's cool. I enjoy them myself. I'm not telling you, as if there's something wrong with you if you don't. But if you really understand it, most of the people that are telling you that they are walking in self-care are not. And that's the funny part about it. So if you're then looking at them and you're thinking that they're the sum total of what self-care looks like and they're off, then you can see why I think this video is so important today, to really give you a better picture of why self-care is much more internal than it'll ever be external. Once the internal is done, the external is easy to do. Very easy to move in it when you understand the foundation of why self-care should happen and is crucially important for your overall happiness and overall progress in the world. Because you're able to then really grasp what it is that you want to do, but you're also able to see the expectations of others, and you're able to create a boundary as if you can actually solidify what they're asking from you, and if it's even something you want to do, right? So we got to do what we have to do to really find our self-care, but I really want you to think about the attributes of what that is and take it deeper than just going to the spa, and take it deeper than just spending 5 minutes with yourself, in the bathroom, because sometimes that's all we can get. And really understanding it's a moment of really embracing who you are in every bit of your process and every bit of your progress in order to be. Let's take the time today to really embrace ourselves, really, 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 really truthfully love on ourselves, and not loving on yourself still waiting on your success to happen in order for you to fully love yourself. Like, don't wait until you feel as if like, you know what, when my money get right and when I'm able to do all the things that I'm going to do, girl, I'm going to really be loving on myself because I'm going to really be. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because the truth of the matter is, like, every day is a gift. Every time that you're able to look at me, look at yourself, look at anything around you, open your eyes, have breath, be able to move, it's a gift. So if you lose this thought pattern of waiting for you to be in a place of gratitude when you finally reach your goal, you kind of miss out. You miss out on all of the things and all of the people and all of the experiences that it took to get you there. And you'll notice that when you finally do get there, you're just as lonely as if you were before, if not worse, due to the fact that you've either missed out on relationships that you could have built, or you're just in a space of just tunnel vision and not really grasping that it's not tangible. It's not the idea of external things that's going to make you happy. It's you. We're super duper duper caught up in mental health right now because it's finally come to the forefront with all of this immediate action that we need in our lives, that we're kind of killing off all of the process because everything has to happen so quickly. And if it doesn't happen quickly, if you're not famous overnight, if you don't have 50 million followers overnight, if you don't have 50,000 comments and everyone's not telling you how great you are, then as creators, they're losing their minds because they don't really know if the content they've worked on so long and hard is good or if they're being accepted. It's like, skip all of that. Skip it. And I'm begging you every video to literally jump on and subscribe and to like it and all of that stuff. But I want you to understand that at the end of the day, as much as I love that about you, I like me. So if no one likes it, if no one really understands what I'm doing, I'm going to enjoy it and I'll have it to be able to look back at for years to come. Well, as long as YouTube is up and floating. But if you understand what I'm trying to say, it's a blessing to be able to be me. And it's a blessing if you're able to see what I see about myself in me. And I look at it like that. It's almost like, you know, I've heard that meme that says like, you know, I woke up and I love myself. And if you love me, that's just an extra like. That's probably the most true percita thought that I could ever tell you in a meme that I've heard, because every day I like me. And I don't like me because I feel like I'm finished. I like me because I'm so different than who I was day to day. I can see the growth and I can see the admiration I have for myself every day. Not because I'm great, not because I make all the right decisions, not because of anything more than I just like me. Right? And I'm hoping and praying that that is exactly what it is that you do and you understand, because most of why I'm saying that is because I really focus on my self-care. I really focus on what that means to me at this stage of my life. And there was a lot of years that I really just spun my wheels and trying to make sure that people felt like I was great and, you know, they wanted to like sing my praises and all this other crazy stuff. Now, one, it's funny to look at because a lot of the people that I looked up to didn't grow. Crazy, because I could have sworn that they were like leaps and bounds in front of me, one, and that they were so much better than me. Yes, better than me, where I literally was trying to live up to what I thought that they had or they wanted or they were doing, only for me to find out yet again, like, it's not that they weren't successful, but it wasn't my journey. And the things that they had in the end was not what I actually wanted. And when you start to grasp that, you really can just develop this idea of like self-care is really wholeheartedly to the root of who you are, down to your nastiness, right? Love yourself. Love yourself. Not loving yourself for anything more than the imperfection of it and the idea that there's only you. There's only you in the world that can be you. There's no one else that can be you, right? So I don't want to be you respectfully and disrespectfully. There's nothing about you that I would want. Does that make sense? So hopefully this video helped you today, and it can get you, if you're not there, on the path to really understanding why self-care is important and making sure that you're self-caring properly. So, as always, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you. If you could be so kind as to like, share, and comment on this video, well, you know, I would greatly appreciate it. But if not, c'est la vie. If you are subscribed, fantastic. If you're not a subscriber, be so kind as to subscribe. That would be cool, though. That part would be really cool. And make sure you hit the notification button, because I would love for you to make sure you make all the videos happen and make them do all the great stuff that I need them to do in regards to growing. So share till you can't share anymore. Other than all of those things that I'm always asking you to do, I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. Those 3 things are: live life authentic. As always, you're the best. I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye.